Prahran was sort of, how would you describe Prahran as best? Organised chaos. There was apparently no structure to it. There was, here's an assignment, go and do it, come back, be assessed, do another one, blah, blah, blah. But after a while it sort of started to make a bit more sense as to how things functioned as lecturers who basically gave you guidance rather than telling you 2 + 2 = 4. Paul Cox suggested in passing one afternoon, I should probably burn that, and do something else.
Well, I sort of remember him looking at one of mine in one of the assessments and one day and saying, pissy print.
Yeah. Paul Cox was wonderful. He really saved a lot of us from ourselves in a lot of ways. He really did.
I think probably...
And I don't think he meant to. It's just how he operated.
Yeah.
It's like, there's potential here.
I can remember at one point during an assessment him making a very negative comment about my print quality and me going, huh? And him saying, don't you know that that's horrible? And I said, no. And he said, what are you doing tonight?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, nothing. Here's my address. Come over.
I'll teach you how to print.
And he was printing.
Yeah, he did the same thing.
I knocked on the door. He came out. He said, there's a stool in the corner of the darkroom. Sit there. Don't say anything. Watch.
Yeah, sit down, shut up and watch. I got the same deal. And he actually taught me how to print properly and ignore the so-called recipe. He showed us ways of doing things that weren't in any manual. There was no how to do this kind of thing that applied to what he was doing. Critical thinking was the only institution I've ever admitted to being in or at. I did Teachers College after Prahran, and that was all about not critical thinking.
Yeah.
It was all about, you must do this, and this to equal that, and that. There was problem solving.
That varied incredibly too, from
all over the place.
Studio lighting to record cover illustration to...
Plus we got assignments from people like Paul, then we got one from Athol, then one from Derek, and around. It was all different and all interesting. Your level of participation was based on what you thought you were going to get out of it in a lot of ways. But at the end of it, you actually either completed the assignment to their satisfaction or you didn't.
And there were funny things you sort of picked up by accident. I mean, again, coming back to print quality, but we had to do a still life at one stage, and I did a pair of boots. And
I did a lemon.
The comment, they loved it. They loved the picture I did, but the comment was that it was breaking the rules because it didn't have a tonal range from a white to a black. There weren't any whites in it. And in a funny way, that was the first time I realised that most pictures should have a tonal range from. So it was a
gradual coming together of elements.
A circular arriving at that information.
We were always encouraged to break the rules, but you sort of need to know what the rules were.
Every picture we take is a exploration.
Something like that, yeah.
And yet one of
all sorts of things. Your own personal foibles, the human condition as it is, or should be, or might be, or was, or looks like it's going to be, all that sort of stuff.
In a funny way, I probably left after first year because I'm not being critical of the institution itself, but for me, there probably wasn't enough talk about critical thinking.
Oh, come on, you went home because you were cold and hungry.
Oh, shit, that too.